Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel. This is Miguel with season 2 of how to combine the DC deck building sets. And this is our 8th deck profile for the season. In this episode, we'll be covering Crossover Crisis 1. In this setup, your oversized characters will include Wildcat, Stargirl, Power Girl, Mr. Terrific, Jay Garrick, Dr. Fate, and Alan Scott. Your Nemesis stack will include Impossible Mode Icicle, Ragdoll, Solomon Grundy, Gentleman Ghost, Obsidian, Eclipso, Mordru the Merciless, Black Adam, and your final supervillain will be Crisis Johnny Sorrow. For the theme of the main deck, we're going to focus on the Justice Society of America with the Flashpoint story arc to include a secondary lineup. For availability, we're pulling from the original set through Justice League Dark, Rivals 1 through 4, Crisis 1 through 4, Crossover Pack 1 through 10, and Crossover Crisis 1. For consistency, the main deck will be at 110 cards with 25 heroes, villains, equipment, and superpowers with 10 locations. The Flashpoint deck will be at 24 cards with 6 heroes, villains, equipment, and superpowers. And now the deck profile. For heroes, at cost 2, we have doubles of Hawkgirl. Hawkgirl works best in hero heavy builds since she can gain an additional +1 power for each one in the discard pile. At cost 3, we have doubles of Liberty Bell. Liberty Bell is a standard +2 power defense card that can cycle through your deck quickly by drawing 3 and putting any 2 back from your hand to the top of your deck. At cost 4, we have a single copy of Sand with doubles of Sonic Siren, Stargirl, Blue Devil, Dr. Midnight, and Huntress. Sand is a great +2 power defense card because he can draw a card and recover up to 2 punch cards in the early game or mid to late game if you keep some punch cards. Sonic Siren refreshes the lineup, helping to cycle out undesirable cards. Stargirl is a defense card that can put a card from the destroyed pile on the bottom of the main deck as a way to prevent it from emptying. Blue Devil can stack your deck with a card from your discard pile while defending as a way to set up future turns. Dr. Midnight can cycle through your deck quickly by letting you discard up to 2 cards from your deck. Huntress can thin out your discard pile of undesirable cards so you wouldn't draw into them when you shuffle your deck. At cost 5, we have a single copy of Hourman, Citizen Steel, with doubles of Power Girl, and Mr. Terrific. Hourman can draw a card and recover up to 5 cards with cost 0 from your discard pile as a way to have additional power in one turn. Citizen Steel can draw a card and reduce the cost of supervillains by 1 for each punch card you control. Power Girl is a straightforward +3 power attack card that fits well into any deck. Mr. Terrific can destroy undesirable cards from the top of your deck. At cost 6, we have a single copy of Jay Garrick. Jay Garrick is a revealed defense card that can discard itself to gain a valuable card from any lineup. At cost 7, we have a single copy of Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate scouts the top 3 cards of the main deck to give out more buy options while providing +4 power. At cost 8, we have single copies of Atom Smasher and Alan Scott. Atom Smasher is a versatile card that can increase in power based on the VP value of the current supervillain to either buy cards from a lineup or defeat the current supervillain. Alan Scott is the lucrative card for the main deck because he has +3 power and can gain a card for each lineup. In this case, the main lineup and the time lineup. For villains, at cost 2, we have doubles of Cheetah. Cheetah is here to gain a card with cost 4 or lower without using the power generated for the turn to let you buy other cards. At cost 3, we have doubles of Black Manta, Black Thorn, Dr. Destiny, and Scythe. Black Manta supports equipment builds by thinning out your deck. Black Thorn supports superpower builds by helping you get rid of undesirable cards. Dr. Destiny is a great defense card that can help you set up future plays by putting a card you want to save for the next turn. Scythe is a standard +2 power attack card that can give each foe a weakness unless they reveal a starter from their hand. This works best in the mid to late game when players are starting to destroy their starters. At cost 4, we have a single copy of Killer Wasp with doubles of Dr. Savannah, Giganta, Phobia, Deathstroke, and Solomon Grundy. Killer Wasp is a +2 power attack card that can clog foes' decks by putting a punch card from their hand or discard pile on the bottom of their deck. Dr. Savannah works best in heavy superpower builds to consistently recover a superpower and place it on top of your deck. Phobia can attack and make foes discard a card into any player's discard pile that did not avoid the attack or the attacker. This means that players can pile up on a single player. Deathstroke is a reliable defense card that can also remove weaknesses or other unwanted cards from your hand when defending. Solomon Grundy is a reliable defense card because he cycles himself back into your deck instead of staying in the discard pile, giving players repeated access to defense throughout the game. At cost 5, we have a single copy of Per Degaton. Per Degaton starts at +2 power and increases by 1 for each card you discard with his effect, especially when you still have vulnerability or weakness cards in your hand. At cost 6, we have a single copy of Tigress and Black Adam. Tigress is a reliable +3 power attack card that works well regardless of your strategy because she can make each foe discard a card. Black Adam is a +3 power defense card that works as a counterattack to punish attackers with weaknesses. At cost 7, we have a single copy of Carter Hall. Carter Hall is a great +3 power attack card that fits well into any deck because he can give foes weakness cards directly into their hands. For equipment, at cost 2, we have doubles of Legion Flight Ring. Legion Flight Ring is a standard draw card that works well regardless of your strategy. At cost 3, we have doubles of Power Ring, Nth Metal, Helmet of Fate, Nth Metal Mace. Power Ring can reveal the top card of your deck for a possible +3 power if the card costs 1 or greater, which works best in the mid to late game when you destroy all your starters. Nth Metal can thin out your deck out of undesirable cards to draw into better cards. Helmet of Fate can mulligan undesirable cards when defending, making you draw a card for each one discarded minus itself. Nth Metal Mace works best in a heavy hero build in order to call out the hero card type correctly so you can draw. At cost 4, we have a single copy of Starheart with doubles of Skeets, Soul Taker Sword, T-Spheres, the Hourglass, and Batarang. Starheart is a utility card that can draw 2 and put a card back on top of your deck to maximize your turn. Skeet supports hero builds by recovering a hero and placing it on top of your deck or into your hand when defending. Soul Taker Sword is a standard +2 power destroy card that can thin out your deck. Hourglass can save a card with cost 6 or less to be used in the turn after. T-Spheres is an early +3 power at the cost of gaining a weakness if you do not control one. Batarang is a standard +1 power and draw card that can refill your hand by 1 when defending. At cost 5, we have doubles of Cosmic Staff. Cosmic Staff is a defense card which works as to discard itself to avoid an attack and gain the bottom card of the main deck. This works in conjunction with Stargirl because she can set up specific cards from the destroyed pile you want to gain with Cosmic Staff. At cost 6, we have a single copy of T-Spheres. T-Spheres is a card that works best when you have multiples of the same card to call out the name correctly in order to draw them. At cost 7, we have a single copy of Book of Magic. Book of Magic scouts the top 3 cards of your deck and helps cycle out undesirable cards you do not want to draw into, making it a strong consistency and setup tool for future turns. It can be combined with T-Spheres in order to call out card names correctly. For superpowers at cost 2, we have doubles of Giant Growth and Flight. Giant Growth is a standard +2 power card that can be bought in the early game when you cannot afford to buy a breakthrough. Flight is another low-cost defense card that can recover any card and place it on top of your deck when defending. At cost 3, we have doubles of Super Speed, X-Ray Vision, Invulnerable, and Phasing. Super Speed is a draw/defense card that can refill your hand by 1 when you play it and by 2 when defending. X-Ray Vision gives a player access to the top of foes' decks in order to play a non-location card from any deck. Invulnerable is a reveal to defend card that can defend from multiple attacks based on how many vulnerability cards you still own. Phasing can thin out your deck both when played and when you defend. At cost 4, we have doubles of Bulletproof, Canary Cry, Construct Jet, and Strength of Amon. Bulletproof is a standard card that can refill your hand by 1 and give you the option to destroy a card from your discard pile when defending. Canary Cry supports villain builds by recovering a villain and placing it on top of your deck or into your hand when defending. Construct Jet refreshes the lineup, helping to cycle out undesirable cards. Strength of Amon is a standard +2 power destroy card that can help thin out your deck. At cost 5, we have single copies of 9 Lives and Girl Power. 9 lives can recover a hero from any discard pile and put it into its owner's hand or provide +2 power. Girl Power is a reveal to defend card that can defend from multiple attacks based on how many punch cards you have in hand. At cost 6, we have single copies of Mystic Bolts and Constructs. Mystic Bolts lets you recover up to 2 cards with cost 5 or less and different costs from your discard pile to reuse previous effects. Constructs allows the player of any choosing to draw 2 cards as a way to cycle through their decks. At cost 7, we have a single copy of Speed Force. Speed Force is the lucrative superpower card in the main deck with its effect of +2 power and draw 2 cards with no consequences. For locations, at cost 4, we have a single copy of House of Mystery and the Rot. House of Mystery and the Rot are draw engines in decks that meet their specific requirements. At cost 5, we have single copies of The Watchtower, Arkham Asylum, The Batcave, Fortress of Solitude, Oa, and Kahndaq. The Watchtower, Arkham Asylum, Batcave, and the Fortress of Solitude are draw engines for their specific card types. Oa is a utility engine that can rearrange the top card of your deck. Kahndaq can also provide utility for a destroy heavy build to place cards on top of your deck. At cost 6, we have single copies of Monument Point and Mogo. Monument Point is a draw engine if you choose to keep at least 1 punch card, but works best if you keep multiple punch cards. Mogo is a utility engine as you can discard a card to draw a card each time you are attacked. In the Time lineup deck, for heroes, we have Britannia, Canterbury Cricket, Citizen Cold, Mera, Captain Thunderkids, and Kid Flash. Britannia can stack both a defense and attack card on top of your deck while providing +2 power. Canterbury Cricket can recur itself by providing +2 power each time you play a different hero, especially in hero heavy builds. Citizen Cold can reveal each foe's top card of their deck with the option to destroy any number of them and play the rest. Mera is a +3 power defense card that can put herself on the bottom of your deck when defending or played to recur in a future turn. Captain Thunderkids decreases the cost of the current nemesis by 6 at the cost of passing it to your foe on your right, and then they have the option to destroy it. Kid Flash can draw 3 cards, but destroys himself when defending to draw 4 cards. For villains, we have Deathstroke, Atlanteans, Martha Wayne, Volko, Subject Zero, and the Furies. Deathstroke can provide an additional +1 power for each card destroyed with his effect, including himself. Atlanteans start at +2 power, but can increase by 1 for each card that the chosen foe chooses to keep in their hand. Martha Wayne is an ongoing card that can have the option to destroy a card in your hand or herself at the start of each of your turns. Volko can gain the current nemesis reward and then activate its first appearance attack against all players. Subject 0 lets you choose a foe for them to choose 2 effects for you from +4 power, draw 2 cards, or destroy up to 2 cards from your hand or discard pile. The Furies start at +5 power, then increase by +2 power for each player that decides to draw a card with this effect. For equipment, we have Atlantean Spear Gun, Energy Resistant Armor, Cosmic Treadmill, Geopost Prison, Queen Mara's Helm, and Trident of Atlan. Atlantean Spear Gun can play the bottom card of your deck and can play it again if it has 0 or less VP value, which can be useful with all the time lineup cards that have negative VPs. Energy Resistant Armor is a delayed defense that can cycle through your deck quickly once it has its ongoing effect to draw 2 and then discard itself. Cosmic Treadmill is an ongoing card that can put the first card you bind or gain directly into your hand. Geopost Prison is a +4 power attack card that can discard an ongoing card from each foe to then draw a card for each ongoing discarded. Queen Mara's Helm is a +4 power defense card that can refill your hand with any number of defense cards in your discard pile when defending. Trident of Atlan is a +4 power attack card that can give each foe a weakness and destroy each defense card used to avoid this attack. For superpowers, we have Brutal Persuasion, Heroic Escape, Counterattack, Speed Force, Traverse Timelines, and No More. Brutal Persuasion can play a card from the lineup to then destroy it or return it. Heroic Escape can give you an additional +1 power for each timeline up card you control. Counterattack is a +4 power defense card that can refill your hand by 1 and make the attacker discard a card. Speed Force is an ongoing card that can give you +1 power and draw a card each time you play a timeline up card, including itself. Traverse Timeline supports players with a time lineup card heavy deck, serving as an endgame card to give 2 VPs for each timeline up card you control. No More can destroy itself and any number of cards in your hand and discard pile, or provide +2 power and draw a card. In closing, that's just one way to combine the DC deck building sets. Remember, there's no single correct way to build your main deck. These videos are here to inspire ideas and start conversations. What would you change? Do you want other crossovers to get a second go at it? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all the YouTube things. I'll see you on the next one.